Hey guys, what's up? I'm here with a review of a low-budget, shot-on-video, direct-to-video, low-budget exploitation, supernatural splatter film from Canada from 1989, and tonight's movie is Things. This movie, I'll be honest, I don't know a ton about this movie. I know what the plot is, and I know that this movie is quite infamous for being one of the worst movies ever made. So, the movie is about an impotent husband, and he wants to father children, so he forces his wife to undergo a dangerous experiment, which results with the birth of like these monsters, I guess, something like that. And apparently this film is also kind of a ripoff of Evil Dead. Apparently, I guess. I don't know exactly what goes on in this movie, but something interesting about this movie is that like at one point apparently all the audio files for this film were like destroyed or lost or something like that. So apparently they had to redub the entire film, which makes this film quite unintentionally humorous. This film has a pretty small cult following, and honestly I hope to become part of that cult following, because I'm just hoping that I like this movie. But the only way I'm going to find out if I like it is if I watch it. So let's get to watching it, shall we? So the movie just kind of starts with a title screen, and then we get to this guy like going down to the basement, and there's this weird woman in the basement who's wearing like a demon or devil mask or something, and she doesn't take it off, and the music gets really weird and kind of terrible, and she undresses, and he's like, I want to have a baby with you, and she's like, you already had a baby with me, and then she hands him the like baby carrier thing, and there's like some kind of demon ant spider monster in it. It turns out to be a nightmare. The guy wakes up and gives some pills to his wife, and she literally tells him, I'm in so much pain, I feel like I'm dying. But the way she says it is, but the way that the dubbing in this movie is, she does not sound like she has been sick ever in her life. Like whoever did the dubbing wasn't sick when they did the dubbing, or wasn't acting when they did the dubbing. So yeah, it's probably the most nonchalant way of saying I feel like I'm going to die that I've ever heard in my entire life. So we get the title screen again, and then even more credits that look really, really cheap and laughable, and I love it. So the guys go to the cabin in the woods, and the cabin in the woods belongs to the guy who is married to the chick, and she's sick and stuff. And they kind of end up in the cabin in the woods, and it just gets worse and worse from there. Okay, so the dubbing in this movie is probably some of the worst dubbing I've ever heard in a movie, just in general, and it's so amazingly bad, along with the writing and the effects. The effects are absolutely terrible as well, and I absolutely love it. The camera work here is pretty okay. The lighting is, I mean, they tried to go for a kind of Suspiria thing, I guess, but it didn't really work out too well. So yeah, the lighting is kind of terrible here. The sound mix is pretty bad, along with the music. I mean, you can still hear the music, you can still hear and make out what people are saying, so it's not too bad, but it's still pretty bad. The puppetry, or should I say lack thereof, is terrible. Honestly, I don't think the director even knew what he was doing. I think he just kind of told the actors, hey, just go and do a bunch of weird stuff that's not too weird, and then later we're going to have you record, and then later we're going to have someone record dialogue that's weird dialogue based on what the weird things you were doing in this scene. That's how it kind of feels like it happens, because some of the dialogue is just so weird and random and really just ridiculous that I love it. So I don't think I've ever seen a movie fall apart so suddenly in my life. The first half of this movie, I'm not saying it's completely solid, but the pacing is kind of okay and stuff like that. You know, it's not too terrible for the first half. Okay, no, it is extremely terrible for the first half. But then it becomes extremely incoherent when their friend, and I'm not even joking, when I'm going to say exactly what they said happened to him, he goes into the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension. He just disappears. And they say he went into the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension. And he doesn't come back for and then he's out of the movie for 30 minutes for some reason. They just wrote that in, I guess. I mean, it gets really, really ridiculous and just nonsensical and incoherent, and that's when it falls apart. And it falls apart so fast and so suddenly that it is almost artistic in the way it falls apart. It's almost beautiful, in a sense, the way that it falls apart. On the gore meter from 1 to 10, 1 being something like Nosferatu and 10 being something like Brain Dead, Fangs is probably a 6. Although the gore effects in this film are pretty bad, it's still a decently explicit film, definitely. It's a really terrible, terrible movie, but it's also so funny and enjoyable and just awesome, and it's also pretty gory at the same time. Probably easily one of the worst, horror films I've ever seen, and I still loved every second of this movie. I mean, one of my favorite parts of this movie is at the end of the movie, the director has the gall, he has the balls, the amount of balls possible to put a screen at the end of the movie that says, "You have just experienced things." At the end of a movie like this, okay? As if saying this film was like a work of art. That is amazing. 9 out of 10, people. 9 out of 10, 4.5 out of 5. I love this movie. I love it. I don't think I can say anything else, honestly. So anyway, guys, if you liked the video, like my channel, be sure to like this video, favorite it, whatever you want, and maybe subscribe perhaps. I would really, really appreciate that. And check the links in the description below. There are links to things like my Tumblr, Twitter, all that, Facebook, all that is in the description below. Hey there, kids. Do you want to get cool stuff in the mail like this? Or this? Or even this? Well then subscribe to Horror Block today. Have you ever wanted to do cool cosplays like this? Or even this? Well, now you can. Subscribe to Moonchild Cosplay on YouTube, and you can see all her tutorials on how to do cool stuff like this. Do you want to get cool horror and exploitation film t-shirts like this? Or this? Or this? Well then go to RottenCotton.com to check out all of their premium t-shirts.